What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Talking Timepieces with Tony. Tony. Today is Friday, and Friday means it's the Q&A. So I appreciate everyone who watches my videos, likes, and subscribes. That helps me stay motivated to keep doing this. I love talking about watches, and I love answering your questions. We've been doing this for quite some time, and it's a lot of fun. So today I am wearing my Rolex Oyster Perpetual 36 millimeter in the turquoise dial. I have a 6.5-inch wrist. I think the 36 millimeter just kind of fits me better than the 41. But that also depends on the type of watch. If I'm wearing a Submariner 40 or a GMT Master or whatever, it just works. If I'm wearing a 41 Cartier, then that happens to work for me. But I do prefer the 36 millimeter on the OPs as well as the date just. Also, if you haven't checked it out, I forgot to post it last week. Last Sunday, I was a guest on Hobby of Hours. I'll post a photo there and I'll post the link in the description. I was interviewed by D, very cool guy. It was very fun. Talked watches and all kinds of things. So if you get a chance to check that out, please do. He's a great guy, man. And he's got a great channel. I mean, he really puts his work into it. It was awesome. It was fun. So thanks, D, if you're watching this. So the Q&A, this is how we do it. If you have a question that you want answered, all you have to do is leave your question in the comment section below. And it will be featured on an upcoming Q&A. If you hit me up on Instagram, it's not the way to do it. You got to do it in the comment section. All right. So I appreciate it. And if you want to subscribe or follow me on Instagram, you can do that as well, which is the same, Talking Timepieces with Tony. Anyway, let's get into the Q&A. And today is a lot of Rolex stuff. So let's get into it. First one comes from UMQ5147. Thank you for answering my question this week. This is a follow-up question. You said you wouldn't choose a Rolex Day Date as a gold watch. Which gold Rolex would you get, and with which dial? Thank you again. Hey man, I appreciate it, dude, but that's not what I said. I didn't say I wouldn't get a Rolex Day Date as a gold watch. I mean, they only make it in gold and platinum, so you only have two choices. But I basically said I wouldn't get it as a first watch, and then I also said I wouldn't get a yellow gold one. If I was going to get, it also depends on where you are in your collecting journey. If you don't have a great collection already, and this is like your first watch, then I wouldn't start at the top. I would work my way up to it. But in the state of where my collection is now, and I decided to buy a day date, then yes, I would buy a rose gold day date. Probably with, there's several options that I love. The rose gold with the rose dial, diamond markers. There's the olive dial with the deconstructed Roman numerals, which I really like. And then the brown ombre dial is pretty cool as well. But if I was most likely, those watches are pretty flashy, and I'm just not that flashy. I don't like to have that kind of presence on my wrist. So if I was going to just say it was my first Rolex or my first gold Rolex, then I would probably buy the 1908 with a white dial and 18 karat white gold. Just so understated, under the radar, and that's kind of where I would go with that. But yeah, no, I didn't say that. I was just basically saying what I just said. So I hope that clarifies your question and answers it, but I appreciate it as always. So thanks. Next question comes from Kevin P4305. Hey Tony, congrats on the engagement. Thank you. For those of you don't know, me and my girlfriend Jamie got engaged. We have matching Nomos watches. We have matching rings. These are just sort of tie over rings until whatever. But yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Super stoked. I have a couple of questions. What are your thoughts on the new Omega Railmaster? And do you think Rolex will now revive the Milgauss? Cheers. I definitely prefer the new Railmaster over the old Railmaster. I think it's a nice looking watch. I think if I didn't have like the Rolex and all that stuff, I would definitely consider it. I think they're around $5,800. I'm not 100% sure. If I'm wrong, correct me. But it's nice. I mean, you got the meta certified. You have everything that the coaxial escapement. I think on that one, I'm not sure, but because I just don't look too much into Omega. But it's a nice watch. I mean, it would go great in anyone's collection, I think. So I do think it's cool. I wouldn't buy one now, though. You know what I mean? I'm just not that much of a Omega fan. But I would have to try it on to see. So I can't really just say I wouldn't buy it, but I'd have to try it on. So and then do I think Rolex are going to revive the Milgauss? I don't know, man. You know, who knows what Rolex is going to do? You know, I don't think they will, but if they do, they do. You know, and you know, but thanks. I appreciate your question, man. Next one from Justin R9245. Hi, Tony. Curious your thoughts on the Rolex GMT Master 2 Pepsi on Jubilee. Is it not your style? I mean, I have a GMT Master 2 Jubilee. It's definitely my style. I love the GMT. I have the Bruce Wayne on Jubilee, but have been itching to get the Pepsi instead. Part of me wants the Pepsi for the history. I'm not sure what to do. Just curious your thoughts in general. Thank you. Yeah, man. I mean, you know, the Pepsi is the most sought after of the GMT Master 2s. And it's because of, you know, I mean, it's the Pan Am colors when they first came out was in 1959, I believe. And that's what some people really love. For me, and now I've been offered the Pepsi a few times now at this point, but turned it down because I don't feel like I need to, just because the bezel color is different. I happen to love black and blue over the red and blue. It's just me. I mean, I can appreciate the history of it, you know, coming from Pan Am, and you know, when they first launched. I think that's amazing, and I think it's awesome. But it's not something that I just say, well, that's why I want something. You know what I mean? When you're spending $11,000, $12,000 on a watch, if you're getting it at your AD, or over $20,000, whatever, at the secondary, then you know you have to be careful in the decisions you make. Yeah, I love it, but at the same time, I'm cool with what I have right now. So, but I do obviously love the GMT Master 2. I appreciate your question, dude. Next one comes from PQ19476. Hey, Tony, Phil here. Hey, Phil, how you doing, man? Tony here. I'm here to answer your question. I appreciate it. I just got a call for a new Submariner no date. That would be the 124060. I'm a boater and always wear my Seiko dives, but it's time to upgrade. Question: from a durability perspective, would you have any worry of the sub falling off? The professional clasp on the sub is the same as the Explorer, and I feel it's pretty secure, but want to know what you think. Also, sick Zenith hat. I'm going to consider the the Chronometer Original this fall. Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's you know, Zenith, awesome. As far as the sub, you know, I mean, I've got a sub right here. This is the 14060M. I initially also had the 124060, 4 lines of text, the most recent reference. And no, they won't fall off, man. That thing is secure. I mean, they're made for what they're made for. They are tool watches, and they're made specifically for diving, and that's what they were made for, and that's what they were used for. You're a boater, so you know it's still gonna be more secure than the Seiko. I mean, it's an overall better watch, better quality. Everything about the Rolex Submariner is amazing. You know, you've got, you know, the 124060, or if you go with the date, 126610, but you're obviously saying it's the no date, and that's my preference as well. If you look here, I mean, I prefer the no date on the Submariners. So good luck with that, man, and I hope you pick it up, and all the best to you. Let me know how it goes. Anyone else want to throw in your 2 cents worth in the comments, please do so. Appreciate it always. I love it when you guys also comment and help other viewers, you know, some of my viewers out and whatever. It's great seeing you guys interact. Some coffee here. Right on. So this next one comes from Go Bricklaying 106. Nice watch. Thank you. Not sure which watch you're talking about, but I appreciate it. What do you think of Orus? I'm researching the Pro Pilot X Caliber 400 in-house. I'm also impressed with the Caliber 473 in the Big Crown Pointer date. In-house design, build, very nice looking in-house movements. Appreciate your time and your channel. Thanks, Tony. Well, thank you, man. Orus, Holstein, Switzerland, man, independent brand. And you know, they've been around for a long time. I love Orus. I think they're great and fun watches. You know, you can't go wrong with an Orus. I've had two of them. In fact, the very first video I ever did on my YouTube was in 2016 or January 2017 when I had my previous watch channel. So I've been doing this for quite some time. And my very first ever review was on my Arctic GT, which was an Orus, which was a very limited piece, and it was an awesome piece. I loved it. I also got the pointer big date as well, fairly recently. Don't have it. I for some reason just didn't wear it, but it's still, you know, I love Orus. So, you know, pick one up, man. Price points are amazing on those watches too, you know. So congratulations if you do pick that up. Next one comes from Dennis YW1UI. Hey, Tony, with an I. It's Tony with a Y, by the way. What do you think about the Explorer 1 36 millimeter? I hesitate between the OP36, different colors, or the Explorer 1. Best regards from Germany. I mean, the Explorer is, you know, I mean, it's an iconic watch. It's a staple. You know what I mean? People love it. I think it's a nice watch. Not for me, only just because, you know, I would prefer the OP line. You know, obviously I prefer the baton markers as opposed to having any Roman numerals on it, or any, sorry, not Roman numerals, or Arabic numerals. But, you know, they're great watches, man. I mean, anything Rolex, you basically can't go wrong. I mean, it's what you love. It's what do you really want, you know? You're looking at an Explorer 1 is going to be easier to get than an OP nowadays. You never would have thought that, would you? But that's the case. So I wish you the best on your decision, man. And right on. Next one comes from Master Christopher Allen. Tony, came across your channel just recently and love your content. Thanks, man. Awesome. Appreciate it. Curious what you appreciate most in a watch once you've had it for a while. Style, fit, or overall function. I don't know. I think it's probably all tied into it, isn't it? You know, I mean, some watches, I'm sorry, Paco. He's doing what he's doing, man. You know, I don't know. I mean, some watches, we also get bored with our watches too after a certain period of time. You know, they're just another watch in your collection. You know what I mean? But you know, like changing up the strap or something like that helps, you know, give it a new life, so to speak. But overall, you know, I really look at the brand. If it's, you know, the brand, the style, the way it looks, obviously aesthetically, it has to look cool. And what's underneath the hood, you know, what's the movement, you know, and not every watch has to have an in-house movement or anything, but, you know, for the most part, it's just everything, you know. I just look at the overall package of the watch, you know. So I appreciate your question, man. I hope that helped. This one comes from Metagirl. Hey, Metagirl, how you doing? Hey, Tony, of all the Rolex models out there, it seems like the Tiffany Blue OP has held its value the best of the colored OP dials, especially the 34 and 36 millimeter. In a world of hype watches and limited attention spans, it's been a few years since the Patek Tiffany sold for a sky-high premium. Yeah, what, 6,600,000, I think it was. Why do you think the Tiffany Blue OP's price on the secondary has remained one of the highest of the OPs? You know, I don't know about so much as the 34 millimeter, but the 40 millimeter definitely was, you know, and that's still very high. 36 is pretty high as well. You know, and I think just really a lot to do is, like, aesthetically wise, it's just a cool color. And I think a lot of it still has to do with the fact that the Patek Philippe 5711 in Tiffany Blue sold for, you know, is for what it did and what they're still selling for. I think the first one went for like $6,600,000 at auction. And now they're floating around $1.5 million on the secondary. And I really think it's probably still got something to do with it. Although some people seem to think that when the 5711 Tiffany came out, that Rolex copied what Patek were doing, and that's not the case. If anything, I would say it's the other way around. The OP Tiffany or turquoise came out in 2020, and I believe the Patek came out, it was probably either later 2020 or 2021. So, but probably still has something to do with the Patek, man. So, but not entirely sure. But yeah, they do maintain, and you know, still going well above retail. Thanks for your question, as always. This next one comes from CEE J Ocampo, CJ Ocampo 683. Hey Tony, what are your thoughts on the IWC Aquatimer 2000 in white dial? Greetings from San Clemente Island. Wow, dude, San Clemente Island. That's cool. San Clemente. There's trestles, upper and lower trestles down there. Nice surf spot. Cool. It's a 44 millimeter watch. It's big. So for me, no good. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think for, IWC, there's a few IWCs that I like and would prefer more than that watch, but still a nice watch. If you like it, man, that's all that matters. It's, IWC make great watches. So thanks for your question, dude. This one comes from Nicola8889. Hello, Tony. Once again, great, sincere, and informative video. I do appreciate that. Thank you. The Cartier tank Centry caught my eye a few months ago and not sure yet, but thinking to pull the trigger on it. Dude. The wifey says it's too feminine. Kind of think because she wants it, LOL. But I really dig it. I dig it too, man. I also own a Cartier tank MC, and the Santos. She sometimes borrows. What do you think about its appeal on the wrist? Check out the platinum one. So gorgeous. Hope you can answer. Thanks. Yeah, I've checked that out. I've checked that watch out plenty of times, man. And I think it's beautiful. I do not think it's too feminine. I think it fits well on the wrist. I might have a picture of the Americaine. That is a very similar watch. They're aesthetically very similar. One's in stainless steel, of course. The Century is a higher, in platinum or gold. But, you can't, I don't think you can go wrong with that. And if it looks kind of feminine, I just say own it up, man. Own up to your manhood and just wear it. You know what I mean? Who cares what anyone thinks? I wouldn't walk around. I mean, there's times where it's like, is this watch too small or whatever? But for the most part, man, dude, dig in, dive into that watch. It's beautiful. I like it. Some people don't, but I do. It's not one of the most sought afters of the Cartier line, but it's still a really nice watch, dude. Thanks for your question. Stuntman Johnny. What's up, Stuntman Johnny? Out of all the stars and celebrities you've met, have you ever been starstruck meeting someone? And who was that person? No, I don't necessarily think starstruck is the word, because I grew up in that realm from a very young age with my family and my dad and whatever, and so you just kind of go into. I think if I was going to say that, maybe when I was a little kid and you met like Lee Majors or David Hasselhoff or something, because my dad was on those sets and I was on the sets a lot, then maybe then. But as like an adult, no, I can have respect and admiration for what someone's done and still be just very cool about it, like just say hi or whatever, but never really starstruck like, oh my god, that's so and so, you know what I mean? But it's just too many. There's been a lot, and it's they're just, the way I look at it is they're just people too, you know what I mean? You might be a fan of theirs or whatever it is, but they're still just people, when it comes down to it. Some are cool, some aren't, so. But thanks for your question, man. Next one comes from Neo Clockwork, and that's where it cuts off, I think. Hey Tony, congrats on your new Nomos to mark a very special event. Yes, thank you. As you are a regular wearer of Rolex bracelets, I was curious about your experience with non-bracelet straps like the one on the Nomos. Do you have a preference on non-Rolex watches for suede versus rubber versus leather versus alligator straps? I'm guessing the warm LA climate may nudge you towards rubber bands. Yeah, well, I prefer leather straps or a strap watch, not bracelet. I prefer bracelet on Rolex and then a couple other watches. But the thing is, I never used to be a bracelet watch guy. I always used to love leather or dressed watch, you know what I mean? Alligator, crocodile, lizard, snake, shark, those types of exotic straps and whatever. It depends on the watch, like for instance, if you take my Zenith Chronomaster Open Heart, that watch actually does work well with a rubber strap. Obviously, in the summer or the warmer weather, rubber is just preferable and it's really comfortable. depending on the type of rubber. If it's FKM vulcanized rubber, then, you know, that's great. If it's silicone, not as, you know what I mean? It gets a little sweaty and whatever. But dress watches, I do like alligator dressy, you know, straps. And, you know, of course, on the Nomos, I have the Alcantara or suede strap. And it just depends, but I like all of them. And but like I say, when it gets hot or the summertime, I'll probably just, you know, keep, you know, a rubber strap on whatever watch I'm wearing, unless it's Rolex. Of course, in this bracelet, I will never change the bracelet to a rubber strap. Some people do that. I don't. I think it's sacrilegious to change your bracelet on a Rolex. But hey, that's just me. So you guys, man, I really appreciate everything. You know, like, subscribe, all that stuff. It means the world to me, and we'll see you on the next one.